Hey guys, for topic 1.1, we're going to be talking about points, lines, and planes. We're going to start off our guided notes with some definitions. So get ready to fill in the blanks. We're also going to be doing some additional labeling on the side, talking about what things are called, how to write things properly in geometry. So make sure if there's anything additional that I write along the side that you follow along and fill it in as well, because it's going to be helpful to you later. If you have a note packet, this is going to be the first set of notes in that packet. If you do not have a note packet for whatever reason, this is available on Canvas, and you can download the file or to print it out or write it on a piece of paper. So the first thing, we're going to talk about something called undefined terms. Now, in geometry, we have 3 undefined terms, and they're undefined because they're more conceptual, right? Points, lines, and planes, you can't hold a point, you can't hold a line, but we can still discuss what it is. So a point has no dimension. And by having no dimension, I mean it has no actual size. You can draw a point, as big as you want or as small as you want, it's still a point. A point is represented by a dot. Okay, so just like we have here, that's a point that would be represented by a dot, and it's named with one uppercase letter. And sorry if my handwriting on this first video isn't that great. I'm still getting used to this new stylus. So when you name a point, you just use one letter. So this would literally be called point A. So if you were to talk about it out loud, you'd say point A. If you're writing it, you can just write the letter A. And if we, for another example, if you had a little dot and there was a B next to it, that's point B. Then we have a line. Lines extend indefinitely in one dimension. Right? It goes on forever and ever in opposite directions. Maybe you have a vertical line, right? It continues up and up forever and ever, and then down forever and ever. So that's just one dimension. Through any 2 points, there is exactly one line. A line is named using any 2 points on the line. So like if you look here, we have an example of a line on the right. We have our line, you'll see you have your double-sided arrows, and if you look, there's these 2 dots here. Those 2 dots are points on the line, so we could call this line AB or BA, the order doesn't matter. Or you could also name it using a lowercase cursive letter, which is what this little L next to it is. So there's a few ways we could say this. If you were reading this out loud, you would say line AB. That's how you would read it, right? But or you could say line L. So if we were, talking in class or you were explaining something, that's what you would say. But something that you're going to notice is very important in geometry is how things are labeled. Lines have a special kind of labeling. And you know how like a line extends forever and ever in both directions with the arrows? Your label is going to look really similar to that. So if you were to write this down, you would write A, B with a double-sided arrow on top of it. Or if you prefer, BA with a double-sided arrow. The order doesn't matter with the line because it goes forever and ever in both directions. So it doesn't necessarily have to be alphabetical if you don't want it to be, but you do have to have the uppercase, or you have to have 2 uppercase letters with a double-sided arrow above it. Or if you prefer, you can use your cursive letter and you would just write line L. That one does not need the little arrow. It's just when you use the points. All right, then our last undefined term is a plane. A plane has 2 dimensions. And when you think of a plane, think of a flat surface that extends forever, right? Like any flat surface, a piece of paper, a floor, a wall, but you have to pretend like it never ends, right? So it extends all the way up, all the way to the side. Okay, so that's 2 dimensions. For a plane, you need, a plane goes through any 3 points, not on the same line. All right, so through any 3 points, not on the same line, one can make exactly 1 plane. So for a line, you need 2 points. A plane, you need 3 points. And this part is very important. Those 3 points cannot be on the same line. The reason that is because if they're all in a row, that's just a line, right? They kind of need to be scattered about so that you end up with a flat surface. So when you name a plane, it is named using any 3 points, not on the same line, or by an uppercase cursive letter. If you look at this plane that we have down here on the right, you'll notice there's the 3 points on it, A, B, and C. They're not all in the same line, right? If I try to draw a line through this, it's not going to work. That's not one continuous line. So that means I can use those 3 letters to name it. So I would call this plane A, B, C. In here, order with your letters also doesn't matter. I tend to write them in alphabetical order, but you don't have to. You also might notice the little cursive M up in the corner. Just like with a line, we can also use a cursive letter when we name our plane. Just this time it's uppercase. So you could also call this plane M if you wanted to. So either way is fine. Okay, so plane A, B, C, or plane M. And then if you're looking at a picture or you're drawing your own picture of a plane, it's represented by a shape that looks like a floor or a wall, but really it extends without end on a flat surface. Oh, I almost forgot how to spell flat. Guys, you're going to notice that I am not the world's best speller or writer, but that's okay. I teach math. So if you take a look at your picture here, it would kind of have this parallelogram type shape. That's what we generally use. You just have to visualize that it's technically extending forever and ever. It looks like it ends because we have to draw it, right? We can't physically draw something that doesn't end. So this is just a representation. Okay, so these are undefined terms. This is how you label them. This is very important. We use this pretty much all year. So if you have any questions about the labeling, please let me know. And then in the next video, we're going to go into defined terms.